All right, recapping the NBA for November 4th, 2025. A little bit of news. The Kings signed Precious Achiuwa, waiving Isaac Jones. The Kings, of course, been very short-handed at power forward with Keegan Murray sidelined for 4 to 6 weeks. So they bring him in. They're able to bring in a little bit of depth at the front court position. They have, of course, been starting DeMar DeRozan essentially at the four in a very small, no defense lineup. So surely Achua will help them there. I'm a little curious how he was even able to start the season in free agency while the Kings went in with someone like Isaac Jones, who didn't have much pedigree. Still two-way contract eligible. They probably could have waived him and brought him back on a two-way. That, by the way, is something that I'm predicting might happen for the Kings, as they probably do like him and want to keep him around in the organization. So we'll see what happens once he clears waivers. But going over to the Toronto Raptors, they moved up to 4-4 on the season, beating the Milwaukee Bucks 128-100. Jakob Poeltl was back in the lineup after missing about a week. 8 points, 9 minutes, played 8 points, 9 rebounds, played 20 minutes. Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett had 23 each. Otherwise, not a ton of notes, as it was a big blowout for the Raptors. And it was more or less just like a scheduling victory for them more than anything else. The Bucks, they dropped to 5-3. It was a back-to-back for them on the road, and they were obviously gassed. They were down big for most of this game. Obviously won the last game with the game winner by Giannis at the buzzer. So a little bit of a, these letdowns tend to happen a little bit in the regular season. It is an 82-game grind. Giannis, for his part, had 22 points in 24 minutes. Everybody in the 20s for minutes. Not really much to take away from this one. So we'll go over to the Hawks. Battle of the 3-4s. The Atlanta Hawks come out victorious over the Orlando Magic 127-112, despite the absence of a Trae Young. The Hawks led the entire game. Zachary Risachet, he had 16 points at the half, finished with a season high at 21 points. Dyson Daniels was solid, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 of 9 from the field, essentially playing point guard for the team. And Jalen Johnson, he had 17, 6, and 5, sharing ball handling responsibilities with Daniels in that first unit. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, of course, providing some scoring punch with 20 points as well, and obviously he's playing better defense than Trae Young. If the Hawks are able to weather the storm of missing Trae, that's probably not going to go too well for his ability to lock up a significant contract extension with the Hawks. The Orlando Magic, on the other hand, so the Hawks moved to 4-4. The Magic, they dropped to 3-5. Very disappointing start to the season for them. Paulo Banchero led them with 22 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. Tristan da Silva, he had 20 points off the bench on 4 of 5 from 3. Rest of team, 7 of 29 from 3. Franz Wagner added 18, but he and Paulo were combined 0 for 7 from 3. Suggs had 12 points, but once again, on a minutes restriction, could only play 20 minutes. And then Desmond Bane, another quiet game, 9 points on 2 of 6 shooting. If he's looking like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, this is more or less on the coach. They need to run a more diverse offense, get him better looks than what he's currently getting. And then we had the battle of the 5-1s. The Chicago Bulls took down the 76ers in dramatic fashion, 113-111, a 24-point comeback for the Bulls. Nick Vucevic, 19-10, hit the game-winning 3 with 3 seconds left to put them ahead. And another triple-double for Josh Giddey, 25 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. He's the first Bull since Michael Jordan in 1989 with back-to-back triple-doubles. So he's playing at an all-star level. He's really been at this level since the Zach LaVine trade at last year's trade deadline. So I've got him up to an 85 overall, which importantly is ties him with Vucevic for the highest rating on the team. I didn't really do a ton to him, just using the old 2K trick of I boosted his shot IQ by 5 points, and then his intangibles by 10 points. I do actually have a system for intangibles. Basically, well, certain players that need to be maxed out to get their rating up, I'll max them out at 99. Like shooting guards are typically power forwards. They rate a little low under the 2K system, but 99s are like superstars, all NBA. 90s are all stars. 80s are starters. And then 70s are role players. 60s are reserves. 50s are two-way contract players, generally, or anybody in the G League. 2K, by the way, kind of stole this from me a couple of years ago. But that's essentially how I'm getting Giddey up. Yeah, we're going to move on from that one. That was not intentional. Io DeSunmo, DNP in this one. So Isaac Okoro, he had a season-high 16 points. Very much needed. As far as the 76ers, they dropped to 5-2 on the season with the loss. Maxey, 39 points, 14 is 26 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, continues to lead the league in scoring. I've adjusted his ratings in a couple videos now, so I'm not going to go too crazy here. But Joel Embiid, he had 20 points on 7 of 21 from the field, played 26 minutes. So he's still scoring the ball like an okay rate. But from my observations watching the game, he's just absolutely cooked defensively. So I have him at an 87 overall. I did drop him 2 more points. He's -5 from where 2K Sports has him at. It's not all drops ratings-wise. I did boost his 3-point rating to a 78, +3 from where it was 8 of 24 on the season. So he's hitting more than 1 per game. 7.6 3-point attempts per 36. So this is the highest volume number of threes that he's ever taken. That's like essentially Brook Lopez type of volume. Of course, Embiid taking a lot more threes because he can't really attack the basket anymore the way that he used to. He's not really moving all that well. So I did drop his ball handle rating by 5 points. And then he's got 16 turnovers to 16 assists to 14 turnovers on the season, a 1.1 AT ratio, which is not particularly impressive. So I did drop his pass accuracy and hands rating by 5 points each. And then I said it before, his defense is cooked. I'm ready to call it on this one. He did have 3 steals and 4 blocks in this game, but teams are challenging him. And when I say his defense is cooked, I mean he doesn't have the mobility to get out onto anybody anymore. So I did drop his speed, perimeter defense, speed with ball, and agility ratings, all by 5 points. Those are all at 50. I did drop his hustle rating by 10 points to a 65. Honestly, it could maybe even go lower than that. I dropped his vertical an additional 5 points to a 35. And then his help defense I have at 70. This is a 75 is league average, so 70 not good, especially for a center. He's just not able to move and get out on a shooter if necessary. So obviously he's not going to be very good with his rotations. The Sixers so far have been a offensive team rather than a defensive team, and Embiid's unfortunately a big part of that. He's like a supersized Enes Kanter or Enes Freedom, however you choose to remember him. And then I did actually update 2 of his badges. I removed physical finisher, which I'm not physical finisher. I'm sorry, layup mix master. 2K has this at a silver, by the way. I removed it from him completely. And then paint patroller, I had this as a bronze. 2K had this as a gold. Obviously, again, he's not really protecting the paint all that well. The layup mixmaster, that's more of like a guard thing. I would say that his days of like creative layups are kind of over when he's struggling to really drive the ball. I also, I don't think I put it in the notes, but yeah, I also decreased his dunk rating by 5 points. He's only attempted 1 dunk on the season, and it was a miss. So, I mean, I might drop his standing dunk as well. 2K has these in like the high 80s because they kind of use this to compensate for like the layup rating, for layups not being effective in game. Otherwise, both in game and in simulations, the field goal percentage for Embiid and guys like Jokic, etc., are going to be too low unless these ratings are high. But I believe more in like realism, and I don't care about the sim stats. So this is where I've got his dunk ratings about 30 points lower than 2K. And then just finishing off the rest of the 76ers, a little quiet offensive game for VJ Edgecombe, 12 points, but he did have a career high 11 rebounds. Was a pretty good rebounder in college. Has yet to. This is more or less accurate to what he's done so far in the league prior to this game. So maybe he'll go up to like a high 50s, maybe a 60 before too long. And then the offensive rebound rate, not what it was in college, but again, this is something that we'll see where he's at in a month. I'm not going to go like lose my mind over anything. We're still like 200 minutes for these players in terms of their sample, only 7 games on the year. And then Jared McCain, he made his debut but was scoreless, 0 points, 0 for 4, only played 15 minutes. I did say that it would be difficult to get him on the court at the same time as Tyrese Maxey, so we probably do need to just drop his overall rating. Just to take, I'll try to get that done in the coming days. Like 78, 77 range-ish is probably fine based on the role that he's going to have with the team. Again, it's also worth noting that he played at the start of last year, which is before they also had Quentin Grimes. So there were a lot more minutes available at the start of last season that he's not going to be getting now. He's essentially the 4th guard on the depth chart instead of like the 3rd or even 2nd and a half, since he was the starter anytime Paul George was out. And then Paul George still not back yet. The Sixers really haven't missed him very much at all thus far. They ran the 4 players that they ran with off the bench were Grimes, McCain, Watford, and Bona. Justin Edwards and Andre Drummond were both DNP CDs. We'll see how Paul George affects the rotation at all. They keep starting Jabari Walker at on a 2-way, playing him token minutes, like 14-ish minutes a game. So George will obviously start. He'll fill in there. But then in terms of where the rest of his minutes will come from, if he's playing low 20s, maybe he takes a little bit from Trendon Watford, but Watford's been playing a pretty solid role for the team since he returned from his injury. Let's go on over to the Pelicans on an injury note. They got their first win of the year, but it was a little bittersweet. 116 and 112. Zion was announced before the game, is going to be out for 7 to 10 days with a grade 1 hamstring strain. He has had a hamstring injury in every season that he's played. And because they won the game, it's Ewing theory time. If you're not familiar with that, the teams tend to play better without their star player. 8 Pelicans were in double figures in this one. Troy Murphy with 21, Troy Murphy with 21, Jose Alvarado with 18, Sadiq Bey with 17, Carlo Matkovic got in the action. Got to get his rating up, I guess, so he's in the rotation. He had 13. Derek Queen had 12. And then 3 players, Fears, Herb Jones, and Jordan Poole had 11 each. Poole, of course, was 3 for 14, so not the greatest. If you take enough shots, you'll eventually hit double figures, right? But Queen and Matkovic in particular, they combined for 25 points, so they did a pretty good job of replacing Zion on the offensive end. We also saw the return of Kevon Looney, who started in this game. He had 0 points on 0 for 3 from the field in 15 minutes. Yves Missi, he DNP'd in this game due to illness, so I had projected that Looney would start based on him starting a couple games in the preseason. We'll see. Interesting timing for Missi to have a quote-unquote illness. We'll see who the starter is in the following game. But yeah, essentially, Poole joined the starters with Zion out at his essentially natural position, and they played with Herb Jones at the 4 rather than and Murphy at the 3 rather than the 2. So this is actually more of like a traditional lineup. The Pelicans shot 17 of 38 from 3, 45%. They had 4 shooters on the floor with Zion not in the game. I'm just saying he is not the easiest fit for a franchise. And then going over to the Charlotte Hornets, they dropped to 3 and 5. They were without LaMelo Ball in this one, second straight game. So we got a little bit more offense from Con Knipple. He had a good game in the last one. and then had his first double-double of his career, 20 points, 12 rebounds in this one. Career high 12 rebounds, of course. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner, 10 points, also a career high in rebounds with 11, his first double-double of his career. Miles Bridges dropped 22. Colin Sexton has 17 at the start at point guard. And then Trey Mann had 18 points off the bench. So they at least replaced LaMelo's scoring. They just more or less couldn't match the Pelicans' hot shooting. Obviously not the greatest defensive team in the world, the Charlotte Hornets. But let's go on over to the Golden State Warriors. They moved up to 5-3, beating the Phoenix Suns 118 to 107. Steph Curry had 28 points. Jimmy Butler left this game early with a sore back, played 14 minutes. We had to check for his status tomorrow moving forward. But Moses Moody played really well in his absence, had a season-high 24 points in 34 minutes, filling the gargantuan Butler void. Kuminga and Draymond Green were quiet offensively in this one, but Quentin Post, he had 14 points, hit 4 threes. This was a DNP game for Al Horford since it's the first of a back-to-back. And then Post, he's been really solid this year. He's been straight up better than Al Horford, so I do need to boost up his rating in the coming days, maybe drop Al Horford a little bit as well. And then Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker had 38 points in this one. He's been really solid. Mark Williams double-doubled, 16 and 16 in 27 minutes. Looks like he's back to full strength. Grayson Allen, 16 points. He's been really consistent this year as well. Still no Dillon Brooks or Jalen Green for the Phoenix Suns, so they are a little thin, didn't have the firepower besides Booker to really contend with the Warriors in this one. And then speaking of firepower, we got the OKC Thunder. They moved up to 8-0 on the season, 126 to 107, dispatching the shorthanded LA Clippers. Chet Holmgren returned to the lineup. He had 11 points, 3 blocks in 30 minutes. Shea, of course, was his usual MVP self with 30 points, 12 assists in 29 minutes. And then Isaiah Joe, it was his turn to step up with 22 points off the bench, hit 6 threes. Anybody can step up on this OKC team. They are that deep, really, all of their rotation players. They're like 10 to 12 deep of like guys who should be like 78 or plus overall. The LA Clippers, on the other hand, they're similar a deep bench, but they haven't been really playing up to snuff as of late. But they were without Kawhi Leonard and Bradley Beal in this one. I presume because it was a back-to-back. Kawhi, famously, is probably not going to play a back-to-back for like the rest of his career. And Bradley Beal, he's recovering from surgery. They've been treating him with kid gloves, also playing him on a minutes limit. So obviously he didn't play in this one. So Chris Dunn got the start. He had 6 points, 30 minutes. And then Nick Batum also started, 3 points in 18 minutes, only 9 points in 48 minutes combined for those two. Just didn't have the offense to really compete with the OKC machine. Not enough, and because they didn't play Beal or Kawhi, essentially they were punting this game. It was never really close. Harden did his best with 25, 6 and 6. But the bench got to do a little bit extra in this game. 50 points out of their 107 came off the bench. John Collins had 17 points. Brook Lopez had 12 off the bench, 4 for 4 from the three-point line. And then Derek Jones also had a solid game in the starting unit. I believe he was the number 2 scorer with either 17 or 18. But Bogdan Bogdanovic, he had 11 off the bench. He had been struggling coming into this one, so it's good to see him get it going. Obviously, I got to drop some of these shooting ratings. There's a lot that I've got to get to in the roster to clean things up. Retouching on the Warriors Suns thing game, I did update the ratings for Steph Curry. I'm very against Curry's 99 3-point rating. That's a rating that like he deserved 10 years ago when he hit 400 threes in a season. He's not really that level of like busted shooter right now. But certainly he makes up for it with a multitude of his badges. I do I wouldn't say liberally, but I'm not afraid to use the legend tier badge where appropriate. Obviously, Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, should have a legend badge in limitless range. Others, these were probably legend for him at various points in his career, but for right now at age 37, Hall of Fame is still pretty damn good. And then Devin Booker, I got his rating in as well. He was a little underrated by 2K. Again, I'm one of the biggest things that separates my roster from their roster is the badge work. So anytime I update a player, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Because I've been working on using these, doing these videos every day. It does take a little bit out of the actual like editing grind of like knocking out like an entire team in one day, as I am just like more focused on like my notebook for the day, what happened around the league. So I'm more cognizant of like what's actually happening every single day. It's just taking a little bit extra time because of that to get like the entire roster up to speed in the next 2 months. Like, as long as I do a couple players per day, there's 500 players in the NBA, but like 200 to 300 that like really matter. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. And thanks for coming along with me on this journey. Essentially, haven't missed a recap at all this year. We're now 15 for 15, I believe. Or 14 for 14. The NBA season is about 2 weeks old, give or take, whatever the exact number is. Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for more Real 2K recap roster content. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.